Good afternoon, everybody. This is Abhay Kaul from Dale Carnegie Training India. I hope that everybody can hear me. I know there is no way for me to ascertain whether I'm audible to you or not, but we've done our checks, so everybody should be able to hear me. I represent Dale Carnegie Training India, which is the organization that's run by Pallavi Jha, who's our chairperson and managing director, and also she heads the women's chapter here for CII within Maharashtra, Goa, Gujarat, and Madhya Pradesh. So in the series, and I'm sure that most of us would have gone through, or some of us would have gone through these sessions earlier as well with Dale Carnegie Training, and I was very delighted to know that we have close to about 88 or 89 participants for this session, which just goes to show that both two things, that one, it is a good session, it is something people want to talk about, also how big a pain point this is, that everybody has signed up for this and is wanting to attend this topic and this session in particular. Okay, so just to start things off, I'm sure you've been on the screen, so you've seen the picture of a lady there. This lady, some of us, as they may know her, is Indra Nooyi. She is the head of PepsiCo, globally one of the first few entrepreneurs, not just lady entrepreneur, one of the first few business people of Indian origin to have led an international organization and sort of put India on that roadmap there, on the global map there, along with, let's say, Rajat Gupta of McKinsey, Mr. Buller of MasterCard. So one of the first few business persons from Indian origin who put it up there. Also one of the very successful women leaders of, let's say, the last 20, 30 years that has emerged, or who has emerged as a person of business. Very recently, she sort of, if I may use the phrase, stirred the hornet's nest when she made this remark saying that women cannot have it all. And she goes on to talk about a point where she says that there were her mother once told her when she came back home after a day's work that no matter how busy you are and how connected you are at the workplace, when you come back home, the most important role that you play is that of either a wife or a mother or both. So that is something that she felt that probably it connected somewhere with her, and she said, well, you know, no matter how successful I am, people are always going to look at me from the perspective of either a mother or a wife or a daughter, but can everybody be able to see me as both those areas? And a lot of other women leaders got involved in it. I remember on Twitter, Sheryl Sandberg of Facebook got involved in that. Marissa Mayer of the CEO of Yahoo Incorporated got involved in that. So it became quite a talk on Twitter, and something that got retweeted and tweeted a lot. And I followed that quite closely, not from the perspective of just this session, just to, you know, that age-old question that people talk about of women being able to balance that work life and their personal life and the work life together. And as we go through the session today, and through the studies, through the research, through my own readings and everything that we've done, and having spoken to some women in my life, you know, my mother, Pallavi Jha, some of the top executives in my firm, my colleagues from my previous company, ITC Hotels, who are doing really well, some of them who are at the very top of their verticals. So some of the thoughts that came up from them, some things that they feel they use to strike that balance, I would definitely share that with you, and then we'll of course have a session on questions, where hopefully I'll try to take as many questions as possible and see where we can answer some of those questions. So everybody, wish you a very, very warm welcome to our session on work-life balance. What we're going to try and see is to generally assess some aspects of work-life balance, what really it talks about, what exactly is work-life balance. Maybe look at some areas where we could spend more or less time depending on where we feel the balance is tilted towards or should be tilted towards, and that will be something that all of us will do together. because that will essentially involve us to look back at our overall life, not just the work life, but overall both professional and personal lives. And let's look at some of the things that top women professionals around the world talk about on how they are able to maintain a very high level of work involvement, of professional involvement, of professional success, and at the same time not really go down on their role as an individual in the family. And I won't just say as a mother or a wife or a daughter, but I would say as part of the family, just like the husband is, or just like the children are, or just like the mother-in-law is, how a lady, a woman can make that sort of role equal in both the professional and the personal life as well. Just to build a perspective, obviously there are certain challenges, and if you look at this person there, of course we don't have these cycles anymore. The unicycle, it doesn't exist anymore other than in circuses. But what this person, if you see, is trying to do sort of to maintain the balance somewhere, and you can see both his hands are going here and there to try and maintain the center of gravity. So let's just take about a minute, everybody, in our own locations, wherever we are based. So wherever we are, just take about a minute and think about one external factor, something that has not been in your hands, something that was not completely under your influence. Any external factor, whether personally or professionally, that has somewhere in the last 1 year caused a bit of a shift in the balance that you wanted to create between your work life and your personal life and other areas. So think, in the next 1 minute, think of any one event, incident, or situation that has occurred in the last 1 year within your life that has sort of shifted the balance unfavorably to some extent. So let's take about a minute, think about that, and if you can put down those points in the question window that you have in front of you. All right, so Jharna says colleagues at the workplace were not cooperative, somewhere leading to a disbalance in the work management, too many project deadlines. Yes, that is, I think that's something that is a reality of all our lives. So personal, the heart condition of a loved one, of a kin, so a personal exigency that has come up. Yes, that again remains far from our control. I think health and health condition. In fact, I remember somebody told me that in any point in your life, you can't have an equal degree of three things: wealth, health, and family. So that's what he told me. So at one point in time, sometimes something will take precedence. Big motherhood, definitely. I think it's a massive challenge, and it's both a wonderful news, a great, I'm sure, a great joy, and at the same time, it does bring in a lot of things. Shelley, thank you so much for sharing that with us. Yeah, health issues. Yes, traveling is just, I can completely understand that. My mother was a traveling work person, and she would always find this challenge of whether she should stay back with me during my board exams or whether she should go. My dad was also working very, on a very travel-intensive job. So, yeah, funny. I think I remember on a panel discussion where this topic was taken up by Barkha Dutt when she was doing a panel discussion where Kiran Kher was. She was saying what you said on the chat, that sometimes a wife also needs a wife. Yes, so work and son, school. Yes, so many times I think it's a couple of things that we've seen some of us sharing has been around children and their work, their studies, their exams. So a lot of the personal things that do come up. We also have professional challenges of projects, of uncooperative work colleagues. So yes, so these again are a lot of situations that professionals do go through. At the same time, there are reasons that are self-created as well. So there are sometimes situations that, oh, I'm very sorry to hear that about the demise of your loved one. I'm very sorry to hear that. I can't see your full name, but my condolences towards that, and you know. Exactly. So yeah, so many times these helping hands that we need are not around, and therefore there are a lot of compromises that need to be made. Also, when we look at the outside and we see that certain things are not in our control, at the same time it's there are certain things that we do ourselves that lead to somewhere a disbalance. So take about another minute and tell us what are some of the internal factors which are under your control. Any internal factor, for example, one of the factors that people do have which does not allow them to control their work-life balance is maybe something as simple as procrastination. So probably just leaving something for a later date, a later time, which can be done. So think about for the next 1 minute and tell us what for you has been an internal factor that has challenged you to maintain that balance between your work life and your personal life. Yes, Jharna, I know it can be quite it can be quite frustrating when your exacting standards of work competence and professionalism is not met. I know it can be quite a challenge. That's an interesting one. Interesting point that you make there. Your own levels of perfection. You know, sometimes the pressure that you put on yourself, that being 100% in both areas, 100% at work, 100% in society, 100% in family, 100% in gatherings. Exactly, Rashi. So that is quite a. In fact, when we go ahead later and we talk about some of the things that top women leaders have said on how they managed their work-life balance, you'll see this point does come up there. Okay, Priyadarshini, yes. Again, I think that word delegation rings true both at home and at work. I think a lot of work skills have to come back towards the home, just the way, a lot of studies say that women by nature are known to multitask better than men, because somehow nature has made them that way, that they know that they will have to sort of handle a lot of different roles. So they are just generally better at multitasking, just the way they are better at empathizing, at sensitivity, and being able to manage diversity better at the workplace. So yes, that multitasking role definitely is something that is both at the work and the professional and the personal workspace as well. Yes, prioritization again. So again, if we see planning, prioritization, multitasking, expectation management, practicality and feasibility of expectations, and yes, Swati, I think it's the expectation from, I know, I mean, I'd be honestly, I wouldn't be honest if I say I can empathize, but yes, looking at my mother, I know, because she for me is a massive role model for me. The way she managed everything and still managed to have a smile on her face at the end of the day, and read me a story at night. And and I do give her a lot of credit that because of her today, if I have a habit and a passion to read books, and I'm a voracious reader who can't stop reading books at any time, I think it's a time that my mother invested with me at night when she read me that one story. And how she did that despite a working life and despite everything that there was on with her is really something that I admired her a lot for. And to everybody on this call, on this webinar, I think that's a huge amount of respect that I have for women to be able to handle so many things. Exactly. So to be able to say no, Havobi says, yeah, so saying no at the workplace and saying no at home, I think somewhere So a lot of, if you look at all the things that everybody's been mentioning, guilt. Okay, so we've been doing a bit of reading ourselves, or it's something that we all feel and we all go through. You're very right. Guilt, another, is a factor that one sort of imposes on oneself about not being able to give enough time at home, or compromising on your work ethics because home has to take precedence. Hypocrisy. Wow, we got some really, really big words coming up there. But I'm really glad, ladies. I think it's wonderful that everybody has come out with such candor and such honesty and sharing things. It's lovely to see that. So everybody has bought in these real life scenarios that you're talking about. So it definitely is a challenge that everybody has been citing about losing our balance. And if you look at these areas, if you look at these broadly the 8 areas in front of us, and if we all have, let's say, somewhere a pen or a paper with us, if you have something there with you, does everybody have somewhere a piece of paper or a pen with them? You can just type your answer in again in that question window. I'll be able to see it. Okay, so Roberta has, yes. Great. So I think most of us have a pen or a paper with us. Great, fantastic. So I know you don't have this this picture in front of you. You can see the picture, but you're not able to. You wouldn't have this with you. So if you could just draw it. So what we need to do, ladies, is just draw the circle and draw these 8 boxes around it. And from the center where the 0 is drawn, just draw a line from that 0 to each box, just the way it is drawn here. So let's take about 2 minutes and just draw this entire circle. And once you're done, if again in that question window, if you could type yes, I will know that you're done with it. So let's take about 2 minutes and draw this out for ourselves. Great, so we got a couple of yeses coming in. Excellent. So a couple of us have drawn. Thank you. Thank you. Kalpana, yes. Divya, okay, done. Brilliant. Done. Havovi, Shelly, Shilpa. Anahita is done as well. Wonderful. Elizabeth, Amy. Okay, wonderful. So as we can see, most of us are done. Now what we need to do, and this is again for your own purpose, we are not really, we don't need to see this, but if you see, these are probably all the areas there any person would find themselves in. So when we look at, we have career, which is the work, the finance, which is essentially the investments, the financial decisions that we take in our life. Again, which comes from a professional and personal sphere both. Community here is looking at the community that we live in, so the social structure that we live in. If I were to cite a couple of examples, some of the community things could be, let's say, devoting some time for causes like Teach for India, or doing some sort of volunteering work for some organization that you feel connected with, or for a cause that you really want or feel strongly about, so putting some time there. Social life here would mean friends, your acquaintances, people that you know outside of your family, those kind of areas. So anybody other than your immediate family, you know, your own husbands and kids and mother, etc. So outside of that, your friends circle, your other relatives, etc. Family, as you would know, is your immediate family that you're a part of. Personal life here would be your own time that you want to take out. This is your part of your life. This does not involve your kids. It does not involve your husband. It does not involve your work. This is for you, for things that you would like to do, such as any hobbies or passions that you may have, whether it's to do with adventure sports or something as simple as gardening or cooking, something like that. Health, very simply, is things to do for your own health, whether it's an evening walk or it's about playing some sport, taking up a game, an activity. Spirituality here is not really religion. We are not looking at religious areas, but spirituality could be something as simple as just maybe a yogic meditation, maybe something where you find yourself connected with and want to do something internally for yourself, for the spirit, so to speak. So look at all of these areas and mark yourself on a scale of 0, which is right in the center, up till 10. So mark yourself on how well do you think you are able to manage this part of your life currently. How well are you able to do it? So you have to do a very honest self-assessment for yourself. So on a scale of 0 to 10, how well do you think you're able to manage this part of your life? Let's take the next 5 minutes. Let's take the next 5 minutes. Think about it and mark yourself. And then we'll let you know what you need to do. Yeah, well, sometimes taking out the time to sit with yourself and taking out that time to actually go through some of these things are revelations that tell you that maybe you just need to give yourself a little more time. No, you don't need to be embarrassed at all, please, not at all. It's nothing to be embarrassed about. I mean, we all sometimes do introspections for ourselves just to figure out and see that, what for me is, what is it that I really want to do, and where is it that is it just the work and the family that is the only point in my life? Is that all that, what Indra Nooyi said, a woman can't have it all. So what exactly is this all? Is it just limited to work and the family life? Is that it, or is there something more around it? So it's nothing to be embarrassed about. It's completely all right that we are looking at ourselves. So it's great that we are able to do that and to come out with things honestly. So thank you very much for doing that. In fact, I must tell you, I did this with my mother too, and I have literally been hounding her. She's quite old now, so she's about 58, and she keeps saying that, I don't want to quit work right now, but she knows that she needs to. 15 out of 80. Okay, yeah, we'll let you know exactly what we need to do with the ratings. I'll tell you right away. So she's not been doing a lot of she's not been doing a lot of walking. I keep telling her to walk a little bit every evening, and after a point when she didn't do it, I just grabbed her hands and say, "Come out with me now. Let's go together." Well, that's what she tells me. I have no idea why she says that she is old, because she is active as anything. She's active in everything, but she just keeps telling me, for obviously the more convenient areas where it's convenient for her to be old, she says she's old, but where it's not convenient for her to be old, she says, no, I'm still very young. Don't put such prohibitions on me. So it really, Kalpana, is all about convenience. Oh, of course, ma'am. Women are always young. It's just us men who tend to grow old. I know nature catches up with us far more quicker. I'm just loving this conversation. So I guess most of us are done with our with the ratings there on all of these 8 areas. So what we need you to do, ladies, is just any rating that you have seen which is 5 or less, just encircle that for yourself. Any one of the boxes where your rating has been 5 or lower than that, just encircle that and just keep it with you for right now. We'll let you know what you need to do with that. So have we all marked? We've all marked. Great. So most of us are done. Excellent. So just hold on to this for right now, and we'll let you know what we need to do. So there is a separate activity that connects with this towards the last part of the session, and we'll let you know exactly what we'll do with this. But you know, when I was thinking about some you know, things that we can share, I didn't just want this to be sort of just a self-reflection session. While that is very important, and all of us have taken out the time and sort of gone back and seen some of these other areas where we need to probably look at ourselves a little more deeply and sort of expand that all part of what we need to do. Let's look at some things that people who have been successful have been able to do. So what are some of the things that these women are doing differently? You know, they are at the top of their game. They are extremely well-to-do. They are mothers, they are wives, they are daughters, they are daughter-in-laws, they are extremely professionally competent professionals. They are at the top of their game wherever they are, and they are changing the world as we speak. From Aruna Jayanti at Capgemini, Sheryl Sandberg, who was poached by Mark Zuckerberg, to Marissa Mayers, who is at Yahoo and has created quite a few ripples with her own principles of work and family balance, to many other homegrown leaders, female leaders like Manisha Girotra, who heads Moelis & Company, which is an investment banking firm, another very highly traveling, high stress, a very stressful job, to Shikha Sharma, who took Axis Bank to a completely new brand. Naina Lal Kidwai, the first Indian woman to have graduated from Harvard Business School, also is the president of HSBC India and South Asia. Mary Barra, who took over the reins of the largest automobile company in corporate America, General Motors, which before Mary Barra was unheard of. General Motors, General Electric, these big, huge corporations of corporate America. Nobody ever thought that tomorrow a woman would be running it, but today Mary Barra has taken over the reins, and at a very stressful time, if I may add, for General Motors, because they have been in a slump for a very long time. To Chanda Kochar, who took over the reins from a very respected and extremely strong banking mind of KV Kamath, and became the MD of ICICI Bank and has taken it from strength to strength. And I have also included in this some women that I see as leaders myself in my own sphere, whether that's Pallavi Jha, who's the chairperson and managing director of my organization, to my own mother, to couple of my relatives, one of whom is a very active obstetrician and gynecologist, and works with Apollo Hospitals, again on call a lot of time, and does a lot of work herself. And another lady from my family who's also a project leader for an investment banking firm. So she handles big level projects for Southeast Asia and Africa region. So I've taken some of their thoughts, some of their ideas on what they do. And if you look at some of these ideas as we come across them, we may be doing some of them ourselves. So it's not about finding something completely different here, but it's just to maybe look at things a little differently, as we did in that when we did this part of our circle of life, when we talk about the balance wheel, and we saw for ourselves that there are certain things that we really need to challenge ourselves to do a lot more. Very similarly, some of the things you will see now, some of the points that are talking about, let's look at them very objectively and also very subjectively. So let's look at things that we are doing, and we'll also look at some things that possibly we can look at doing a little differently. The first thing that came about is there is nothing called a work-life balance. Now, this was a bit of a shocker to me because I said, okay, this session is called work-life balance. And this actually, you know what, this was a common thread. I read this in every single article, in every single interview, in every single book of every woman leader that I read to talk about this session and some of the other sessions that we have conducted in some other organizations. Most women leaders today are talking about the fact that there is no balance. You can't call it a balance, because the moment you call it a balance, what you're trying to say is the one side will have to take precedence over the other, which means that there will have to be a compromise somewhere. So you're going to let one thing down to let the other one take up. So yes, so I agree when you say that, Jharna, I understand when you say that it's not a balance, and it's a good thought to take. Now, when these leaders say it's a blend, it's about a blend and an integration. What they meant was that at any point in time, if a woman leader has to be successful both at the workplace and at home, then one cannot try and lead two different lives. Somewhere a blend of the work in the family and the family in the work has to happen. For example, one of the things that was said by Manisha Girotra at a very recent conference that happened, I'm forgetting what the forum was, but she and Aruna Jayanti, the head of Capgemini India, were called there to talk about, and one of the topics that did come out obviously was this work-life balance and how do women leaders handle work-life balance. And Manisha Girotra said that, you know, as a working woman and also as a mother, my children are very, very important to me. I make sure that while I am working, there is also a part of me that is making sure that my child is picked up on time. If I have the time and if I have a lunch break and there's nothing there, I will go pick him up myself and drop him home. I generally, and I've made it a rule for the last many years, to be leaving office at a certain time and not stretching beyond that. So she says that I've held myself accountable to those things, because what I was seeing was that I would take a decision, and just because the work pressure was too much, I would let go of it, not realizing that I'm again swinging the balance to only one side in my life. So what she said herself was that she started holding herself accountable and taking these steps to make sure that neither one of these areas take a backdrop. In fact, I was watching this, I was on Facebook, and I had these two senior female Coke executives, some two lady Coke executives, who were talking about how they manage their emails at work and how that has really helped them you know, handle their work-life balance for themselves. And one of the things they talk about is that how they make sure that even if they have certain mails that they do need to take up at work, because it's post their work time, they make sure that they first take out time for the family. And towards the end of the night, when everybody's settled and in bed and things are done, that is when they take out and answer only the most absolutely critical mails, if they need to be answered at that time. So what all of these women leaders are really trying to say is that leading two separate lives would not be possible. I'm sure you would agree, mentally it's just not easy to say, okay, when I'm at work, I take my family out, and when I'm at family, I take the work out completely. It doesn't happen. The work and the family is just so integrated today that you cannot really look at it as a balance. But somewhere it will have to be a blend of trying and compromising one for the other at each point in time as and when it comes. The guilt syndrome. This was something that I read over a lunch. That Business Today had a lunch session with three women leaders in India. One was, of course, Nainalal Kidwai, three bankers, Chanda Kochar, Nainalal Kidwai, and Shikha Sharma of Axis Bank, HSBC, and ICICI Bank, and they were having this a lunch session with the three of them, which was published in an interview in Business Today. and again, from the perspective of women leadership, this point came up about work-life balance. And the reporter writes that immediately the first thing that happened was that Naina Lal Kidwai, who again, sort of, if you know, I wouldn't go too far to say that she's been one of the trailblazers of women leadership in India, having graduated from Harvard Business School as the first, women business leader from there, and having gone strength to strength and led HSBC in a very, very credible role within this country and the region. And she says the first thing that women need to stop doing is to stop feeling guilty. She says that most of the stress that I see women leaders go through, and she says when women come up to me and talk about the fact that they're not able to manage family, they're not able to manage work, and that somewhere their professional aspirations have to take a back seat. The question that Naina Lal Kidwai asks them is why? Why do you need to do that? Do you have a husband that doesn't help you? And they say, no, they do. Do you not have a family support system? Do you not have a mother-in-law or a mother or somebody elder in the family? No, they are there as well. Then what is the reason? She says, then I feel that, I'm not doing enough for my child. So that's where Naina Lal Kidwai says that, it's all about the more you keep telling yourself that you're not doing the right thing and that you're not able to take up the right opportunities for your family and for your children, just making yourself feel guilty, and this guilt syndrome not just affects us here. In fact, I remember when Marissa Mayer, I don't know if, and some of us would remember when she took over as a CEO of Yahoo. At the very same time, she was also in the family way, so she was pregnant as well. So it was sort of a catch-22 situation where she's taking over Yahoo, which was at that time an ailing internet giant, which did not know where they wanted to go, whether they wanted to be in the advertising space, whether they wanted to be a search engine like Google, where they were comprehensively beaten by Google. So where did they want to be? And Marissa Mayer was brought in so that she would be able to, from Google, so that she would be able to build Yahoo up back again. And she was also pregnant at that time. And in fact, I remember one of the posts that was there in a newspaper, I think it was Huffington Post, where it came out that Marissa Mayer says that she will be taking a 6-week leave for her pregnancy and for a post-pregnancy time period with a baby. And suddenly the entire social media erupted, saying, okay, business leader, 6 weeks, who will head it? This was the time when she was needed. And a lot of these things started coming up. And I don't know if it was because of that or because of something else that Marissa Mayer finally decided that she will join only about 2 weeks post a pregnancy. And even in that situation, people couldn't let go. So even then people were coming up, look, she's not giving enough time to the child. Imagine what will happen to when the kid, when it grows up. This is the time that the family and the mother needs to be with the child. So it was just like, it's such a burden for a woman to have, to have a family or a child. But you never hear of any male leader ever, having to give up his work because he's become a father. That is never put into question. There is never a male leader who says, okay, he becomes a father and he's going to go on leave, and now who's going to manage? But just the moment a Marissa Mayer gives birth to a child, and 6 weeks or 2 weeks starts becoming an issue and a news item for top newspapers to write about and to even discuss and analyze from a perspective of leadership. So this is a particular challenge. Of course, one can attribute a lot of those things to mentality that women leaders have to face and have to challenge, and some of the real life challenges that women leaders face. But this was something that came up, and Naina Lal Kidwai, and I think in that same article, even Chanda Kochhar chimes in and says that I have never ever felt guilty about giving some more time to my work than to my family, because I know at some other time I will take out time more for my family and let work be handled by somebody else. So they both were equivocal in the fact that the more guilty you keep feeling yourself about not being able to do something for the family or not being able to do something for the work, the more the stress starts building. And that is where again that balance sort of starts shifting again. So that guilt syndrome that builds in because of not being able to give a certain amount of time to a certain area of life is something that can also lead. And most of these women leaders again said that initially, yes, it was tough, but as they grew in their career and as they got better at managing that, they felt that that guilt syndrome was something they had to get rid of. So that was another thing that came across. The third one, from the very statement that Indra Nooyi made, that women can't have it all. So this point again was taken up by Sheryl Sandberg of Facebook, who's again a very, very strong voice for women leadership, equality of women at the workplace, diversity at the workplace, and to be able to create a more conducive work environment in an organization for women to work, whether it be flexibility or flexi hours or work from home because they have to manage a family as well. So she's one of the most vocal leaders in the world for women empowerment and women leadership. She in fact responded to some of the tweets that Indra Nooyi had made about this this tweet that she said that women cannot have it all. And Sheryl Sandberg says, well, that depends on what for you is all. So what is all for you? Is all just family? Are you looking for praise and recognition? Are you looking for acceptance? Are you looking that you want to be the fourth most person in your community who's looked upon? Do you want to be the best, wife and the best mother and the best daughter and the best sister and the best work person? What all constitutes for you is all. There where she goes on to say, well, you need to start prioritizing what really matters to you the most. Because if everything matters to you, then there will always be a disbalance. There will never ever be a balance for you. So that's where she comes up and says that you have to define for yourself, what is this all? So what constitutes this all? The next thing she says is involving the family and the spouse. I think this is, I was actually thinking that, coming out from here and talking about this fact that involving the family, especially your spouse, when I would pick up, this would be one area where I don't think any training organization or even a speaker can really help us, because because I think that decision's already been made and been made very well, I'm sure. But most of the women leaders did put down this fact of the fact they have a very strong support system back in the family, where whether it's the children, and this was not just the spouse. They did say especially the spouse, but it was not just the spouse. They said even the children were made to understand. Even the other people in the family were equivocal in their support, and formed a very strong support system for them to be able to go out and spend those hours on the road and the miles in the airlines and the hours at workplace, so that things at home can be taken care of. And that's where they say that is one of the ways through which that guilt goes down, because somebody's taking care and there is somebody involved. So somewhere it will have to be a mental decision that one will have to take on what all does one want to do, and where all does one want to be at the same time. So that's where I think, in fact, most of the Indian leaders were more vocal about this point, because in terms of our own family systems, though a lot more family in India are getting nuclear rather than joint. But I think in India still there is a bit of that help that we do get. I remember in my, I was doing my MBA, I had a colleague of mine, Sheetal Goyal, who was working as an HR recruiter for projects in the US. So her role really was to sort of look at CVs within India of people who are technical experts in various areas of IT and information technology and software management, and then be able to get them to do projects in various companies in the US. And one day I was just chatting with her, and I noticed there was a sort of an accent in her voice, and I asked her, Sheetal, have you been outside somewhere? Have you just moved to India? And she said, yes, I was staying in the States, I was staying in New Jersey, and I had just moved to India about a couple of months back. So I said, okay, and what were you doing there? She said, I used to work in the same profession. Her husband used to work for McGraw-Hill, the publishing company. And I said, so how was life there? And she said, well, life was really nice. I had a great set of friends. The house that we were allotted was really good. My husband was very happy with his job. But somewhere they felt that they did not have a strong support system, a community support of the way that we've grown up, in our families, of having our masis and our buas and our mamis and chachis and dadas and nanis and everybody around there, sort of that warm family atmosphere. She felt that that was missing. And husband and wife both decided together that they will make a compromise somewhere on that part of their life and say, okay, you know what, we can definitely earn, if not more, at least the same amount of money back when we move to India, but we really need to give this to our children. So they both took that chance and came back. So, and what she is able to do now is, while she's working, she was also able to do an executive MBA course while working, managing family and studying at the same time. And she was doing this from IIM Kozhikode, which, as you would know, IIMs, the course load at IIMs is not something that is, easy to handle. A lot of projects, a lot of case studies, a lot of real life assignments to do. And she was with me in the same group that was studying. So she said it became a whole lot easier. She said she would not have been able to do this if she was back in the States. And here is where she finds that support system very, very strong. So having a family, and this is also where I remember this question, the statement was made by again Naina Lal Kidwai again, and she said that, a very long time back, me and my husband, we just decided, and we talked about and we communicated to each other about who takes what role in the family. And she said that, I'm very glad that I found a person who was so supportive, who allowed me that time to explore myself professionally and through my work. And a lot of the reason why I'm here today is obviously because I am good. It's not that I'm not good, but I think somewhere that family support really helped, and the support of the spouse really, really encouraged her to really push herself through. And well, she obviously was competent to have got where she is. So that family support system really does play a part. Okay, so this one was something that I read in an article by Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw. So Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw wrote about this article in the Outlook magazine about inclusivity at the workplace. So she was talking about various areas of inclusivity, whether it's the male-female ratio at the workplace, or whether it's about including other people of other areas, of other descents, of other countries at the workplace, and how the Indian workforce needs to get a lot more sensitive in the diversity aspect of the workplace. So thanks, Jagannath. I have water by my side, so I am quietly sipping on it as I talk through this. This is part of my life, so we're pretty much used to this. Happens 8 hours every day for at least 20 days in a month. So yeah, we're used to this. So Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw there mentioned that it's also about taking the stress off from work, because she said it's not just about the balance that women leaders need to create, but what happens due to it. And what she meant by that, she said, was that it's not just about the fact that women leaders have to create that balance. It was also about the fact that many times when you do compromise on one side, for example, if you do say that, okay, I will not take an X project because that will involve me to be this much away from my family, and I will give up on that. Or whether I will take this project, but that means I may be on the road for, let's say, the next 6 months, or I may have to stay back in office more hours for the next couple of weeks. And that is the time I take away from my family. It's the guilt that sets in, and the stress of giving something up because of something else that really takes away that work, that balance in your mind. So what Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw said there, and she's an entrepreneur herself, the owner and managing director and CEO of Biocon, one of the most known and respected biopharmaceutical company in the country, and biotech company in the country. And she says that, as a woman entrepreneur, when I had to build this company up, there were many times that I was not able to attend birthday parties. I was not able to attend be there for, the people in my family. But at that time, in the initial part, and also she says, initially I did feel somewhere that I was not able to manage it and I was compromising. But then when I looked at the long-term plan that I had set out for myself, I felt that at this point in time, this was more necessary. It was more important for me to be out in the market, to meet customers, to meet clients, to build this organization. And that is where back in the family, people helped me out. And an understanding family system was really instrumental for me to be able to go out and build this organization. And today when I look back, I do feel that it was more about it playing on my mind. And until and unless I had that conversation with my family, and until and unless we had that talk in the family that, this is what I need to do, and this is what I have to do to be there. And therefore she was not, and therefore she said that she was able to connect that and to be able to take that more favorably ahead. Another point that that came up from one of these thoughts that we mentioned there was reducing the imbalance of work. So a lot of points and a lot of these sessions that came up and a lot of the articles that came up that we were reading, discussing and researching through, it was not just about the imbalance at the home. It was also somewhere where one needs to look at things at the workplace and to see whether one needs to take a step back sometimes. And when we had earlier some of the points that came up about expectation management, and some of us said that it's about my own expectations from myself, or whether it was expectations at the workplace, the deadlines, the things that we need to do. So somewhere like Swati said, that expectations from a woman, what all is a woman supposed to do? So somewhere that reducing the imbalance of work at the workplace. In fact, a very interesting point that did come up here was where I think it was this was said by Sheryl Sandberg again. I think, yeah, Sheryl Sandberg said this. She said, what, it's a myth. And because she handles such a huge organization, Sheryl Sandberg is at Facebook, and they hire, you would have known, Facebook just got a 2 crore package to a female student who was offered a 2 crore package out of IIT Delhi to work for Facebook, and she'll be based out of Palo Alto in the Silicon Valley in California. So she was hired by IIT Bombay, is it? Okay, sorry. So IIT Bombay it was. So a female student who was hired by Facebook. And Sheryl says that, we have some of the brightest people in the world working for us. We hire from some of the top companies. We hire from MIT, from Stanford, we hired from Harvard, we hire from the best colleges in India, and similarly from every other country around the world where they have offices. They hire some of the smartest, the brightest, and the most ambitious people, is what she says. At the same time, what she also says is, work-life balance as a challenge. While women are very vocal about the fact that there is a challenge, many times it is also the men who go through it. So even men are suffering from work-life balance. In fact, Zia Modi, who is a partner at AVZ Partners, which is one of the most successful law firm in this country, and Zia Modi is one of the foremost lawyers of this country. Even she says that a lot of times, a lot of male counterparts, a lot of male advocates and lawyers, even they complain about the work-life balance being somewhere not appropriate to their expectations. And she says it's quite equal. It's not that a man has something less, but yes, the expectations from a woman back at home is a lot more. So while a man may have expectations of being the breadwinner, if I were to use the very colloquial Indian mentality or Indian mindset thing, the man has to be the breadwinner, the man has to run the house, the man has to bring back the salary home to run the family. And for the woman, it's on the other side, that the woman needs to handle the family and make the house run from what the man gets. So that kind of a mindset that is there within the society, she says it plagues both man and woman. And to be able to create that balance between the man and the woman in the family is what is really, really important. And for that, both man and woman have to somewhere look at where and how much workload do they want to take for themselves. So if it is really something as a family that is somewhere you want to create that balance, then you will have to look at, are we taking on more workload than what you want? Are you being unfair on yourself by taking on more workload? And we're not just saying just because of the family, but because of the human capacity to be able to deal with the kind of work that you can deal with, or the quantum of work that you can deal with. So that's what Cheryl was saying at that time, that reduce that imbalance. She said even during her time at Google, she said there were times that she would say no to a project and allow somebody else to take it, because she realized that giving equal time to too many projects was not possible. So she might as well prioritize herself, take projects that were would challenge her and would be able to push herself, and not take on some other projects which were not as relevant to her as that. But she said that was something that was somewhere something that she had to take, you know. There is something that came up. Let me just read this. Sudha Modi decided to let go of the organ she started in, though she was more qualified. Yeah, exactly. So it's, again, that's a very right thing that, and Sudha Murthy right now, if you know, she's writing a lot of books. She writes a lot of children's books now. I forget the name of the book. Lovely title. In fact, when I was working at Infosys, working with Infosys, sorry, not at Infosys, at that time I remember somebody brought out this topic and we had a little chat about Ms. Sudha Murthy and a book of this book that she's writing about kids stories. And yes, so they decided. So again, it has to be a decision between, and there are many cases like the other lady entrepreneurs and businesswomen that we've talked about, where it's the man who has taken the back seat, and the woman today is taking on the role, whether it's the head of Xerox or Mary Barra, who took on the role. Her husband actually has to cut down his hours and say, okay, well, she's getting the opportunity of a lifetime, then maybe it is time for me to be able to be there for her. So again, it has to be somewhere where a conversation happens between you and the family, and where you decide where that imbalance of work is happening and how much do you really want to take upon with yourself. Communicating commitments constantly. This was something that came up in most of their conversations, that they make sure that there are no last minute surprises for their family. She says that a lot of these ladies said that when they are sitting with their family or with their children, and children do come up, I think it's one of the most important and one of the most talked about aspect of work-life balance that women leaders around the world talk about their role as a mother, and how important it is for the formative years of the child to see the mother with him or her. And so some of these leaders did say that, I do not surprise my family. If there is something that is coming up, I will sit with my children. I will tell them, mommy's got to be here. It's very important, but mommy will make up to you through this. And she actually, in fact, this was a conversation that was relived by, I think it was Manisha Girotra. Yes, Manisha Girotra, who said that, I actually sat down, I had to sit down with my child and tell her, this is what is happening. Mommy needs to be there. She'll be out for 6 months. In fact, the birthday was coming up, and she would miss that, and she knew she'd be terribly upset. But she said that I had told her well in advance, and I did enough between that time and me leaving from the country to make up for that and to be able to handle that situation. When I came back, I was on Skype with her on her birthday. I did wish her and we celebrated, and I had a cake cut here and she had a cake cut there. And when I came back, we had a great session. So we had a great time and we celebrated the birthday and everything else. But yes, so preparing the family and communicating those commitments so that the family also somewhere gets used to the fact that you will be busy and that you will be gone, and that they will. So it's something that, as a child I dealt with, even with my father not being there many times. But yeah, that became somewhere an acceptance that came in. Whenever he was there, I would spend time with him. But again, I know the challenge here is the expectations from a woman. Again, that expectation that you have to be the one who will be there with the child. But again, a lot of these women leaders do say that, the husbands took up that role and said, well, we'll be the one who'll be there, and we'll take care of the family, and we'll be there to, take up that role for you within the family as well. So again, that constant communication becomes important, so that nobody's caught unaware and nobody is left out in the dark about things, and nothing comes across as a last minute surprise. This thing, I think this one came about from Zia Modi, where she said that, enjoy both aspects of life. Don't take work as a burden that is not allowing you to be with the family. Don't look at family problems as a reason for not being able to be productive at work. And again, this goes back to the same point of, that guilt syndrome, and to look at things where, am I really drawing that balance, and am I really looking at everything, and what is that all for me? So enjoy both the aspects of life and sort of try and integrate and blend rather than creating that balance. Because again, that, as they said, the balance is the word that somewhere skews it to one side being more important than the other. And finally, and most importantly, a lot of the leaders said that, and one thing that Nela, in fact, this take out some me time, Nela Lal Kidwai says, I consciously, whenever I take a leave or wherever I go for a vacation or a holiday with my family, I go to a place where I know most probably I will not get a phone signal, that I will not have to take a call. In fact, just this, the last vacation we took as a family, my dad's phone, whenever we stepped out of the room to go out someplace to maybe shop or something, we made sure that between all of us there was one phone that was available. Not everybody's phone was there. So only one phone was available, and the other phones were kept back in the hotel, and anybody who had to call, all the phone numbers, all the calls were directed to that phone. And we would keep that phone for only absolutely important purposes, for emergencies, anything like that. And Nella Kidwai says it's very important where women just get caught up in that situation between work and family life, and they hardly ever take out the time for themselves. And a lot of us, if you would have seen your scores of 5 or below, a lot of those areas would either be health, or they would have to do somewhere with community, or it would have to do somewhere with personal time. So a lot of these aspects which are also part of the life start getting neglected. But again, it's very similar to becoming more organized. So some of us who are not very organized, how we get organized is by working on it. There's no other way. There are many things that people will say about making a chart, making a diagram, keeping a timetable, or keeping a log. But the idea is to first do it. There are many ideas that will help you become more organized and more succinct in your work, and more being able to do things that you want to do. But unless and until you actually do it, it won't happen. So all of these leaders said that they have some hobby or passion that they are very connected with, whether it would be a corporate social responsibility activity, whether it would be a sport or a game that they like to do, whether it be a passion that has been with them. Some of them are into music, some of them are into philanthropy, some are into painting or music, some take out time to maybe add some more knowledge into their repertoire by taking on some sessions online, and some would just want to take a trip by themselves. In fact, I'm forgetting the name of the lady who started off this online lingerie brand in America. She just got a round of fund. I'll just remember the name and tell you. She just got a fresh round of funding of $20 million for a business, so an online lingerie firm. And she says that she actually takes out, she's been into adventure sport, but all through her college she was never able to take out the time. But now what she does is she plans her workout for the entire year in such a way that she gets at least 3 15-day periods within the year where she takes adventure sport activities around the world. From New Zealand, she's been to a lot of the countries in Mongolia. She's gone to Mongolia. She's been to a lot of countries in Africa, Asia, Europe, and she's traveling now all the time, not just for work, but also for a personal reason. So taking out that me time and taking out the time for yourself to be able to reduce that stress that comes on because of creating that blend between work and life also becomes extremely important. So be able to get some time for just yourself is as critical as being able to take out time for the family. So these were some of the things that came as we try to look up some of the best practices of what the best women leaders around the world do, and what are some of the things that they say help them to be able to manage a really very successful career, and also to have a happy and content family. And just to add one more statistic here, Ernst & Young, or as they are called now EY, did a survey in 2013 of high achieving women. So women who are high achieving not in terms of salary or position, but in terms of responsibility and career graph. So what they found out was 58% of those women said that they were very content with their work-life balance, out of which 26% of them said that they have things in their life which are other than work and family and kids. So 26% of those content women who were in the higher percentile of the score, which means that 26% of those 58% who were very high in their scores of being very content with their work-life balance, they said that they had other things in their life other than just work and family and kids and husband. So they indulged in some other areas where they could actually involve themselves a lot more, whether it could be anything from philanthropy to sports or any other hobby or passion. So again, something real life, and these high achieving women were all in the mid to senior management bracket in various industries. So just a statistical fact that goes to show that while it is important to have that work-life balance, but is it only the work, and what exactly is life that you really want to measure it through? Is it just the family and kids, or is there something more that we would want to do for ourselves that also forms a part of our life? So this survey that was done in the US. It was not done here. It was done in the US there. This was Ernst & Young survey that they didn't do this one in India. Aparna. All right. So so these were some of the thoughts that came out, ladies, and we'll just go back to that circle, the balance wheel. We've talked about certain things, so we looked at some of the learnings from these top leaders that came out, and also to look at things that help us make sure that we enjoy both aspects of work and personal life, and take out some time for yourself, which is equally important. Let's go back to that balance wheel that we had made earlier. I'll take you back to that. This is the one that we're talking about. Yes, sorry, it does depend on the person. Yes, it has to be a decision, as we said earlier, as most of these leaders say, you have to take a call about. Yes, so it's all about, again, as we said that when Indra Nooyi said that women can't have it all, what for you is that all? What is that all that you want? So you have to decide first of all what is that all, and what for you is life. Work we understand is work, but what for you is life? Is life just limited to the kids and the husband and the family, or is life also about your health? Is it also about your personal life? Is it also about your spiritual growth in life? So are we also looking at that or not? So these are some of the things that we talked about, and Swati, thank you for reiterating that point towards the end. Now, as we look at that circle, that balance of that balance wheel that we have, which we had drawn earlier. So let's go back to that very quickly. And if you could just take the next 5 minutes and very quickly look at one area there that you have encircled, and take one commitment for yourself right now at this very instant on what is it that you're going to do differently. Okay, so just take the next 5 minutes, look at any one box here that you had encircled which was on a score of 5 or less, and look at some of these things that we talked about. that these women leaders said, and take one commitment that you are going to do differently to ensure a better work-life blend. Rather than saying the word work-life balance, a better work-life blend. I'll do that. In career and health, what is the one commitment you would like to take? So those are the two areas, but what is the particular commitment you are going to take? So Jharna, select any one. So if you had to prioritize on all of them, just select one out of them, and on the basis of that, take a commitment on what are you going to do differently to take it from a below 5 to an above 5. Absolutely, Rashi, and we mentioned this earlier. It's for men as well. It is for men. But is that men are not as vocal about these situations? Okay. So ladies, I think we'll have to log off now because this is another session that's coming up. But it was lovely interacting with all of you. I will leave my contact details here with Tracy. And if there are any other things, any questions or anything that you may come up with or that come up in your mind, please feel free to mail us or send across an SMS or a text or something, and we can definitely connect again on this. So thank you very much. It was lovely interacting with all of you, and wish you a very good evening, a wonderful day ahead, and a great weekend.